I think it's going very well. It was an operation. Like when a patient gets operated on, the markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom.
Okay, bringing in the group chat, Washington Bureau Chief for the Boston Globe, Jackie Kucinich, former Obama 2012 campaign manager Jim Messina, and President and Executive Director of the Daily Signal, Rob Bluey. Jackie, I want to start with you, just helping us understand how the White House is talking about this. What's your team reporting?
So when we went to the Hill yesterday, you did have the big push by the White House for Republicans to stay in line on this and to not come out against the president. And you saw that for the most part on the Hill. You had Republicans saying that they were willing to give, most of them, to give the president time to allow this to work. But there was also a bit of a disconnect where the White House said this is the final answer, this is not a negotiating tactic. You had Republican senators on the Hill saying, you know, this is a starting point. So where that ends up, maybe somewhere in the middle, we'll have to see.
Yeah, we know there was some cracks there with some Senate Republicans voting against, kind of in a vote against tariffs. Here was J.D. Vance reacting to the market plunge yesterday.
We're feeling good. Look, I frankly thought in some ways it could be worse in the markets because this is a big transition. You saw the president said earlier today, it's like a patient who was very sick. We did the operation, and now it's time to make the patient better. And that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, look, one bad day in the stock market compared to what President Trump said earlier today, and I think he's right about this, we're going to have a booming stock market for a long time.
I love these analogies because our economy is the patient, but markets, they're the nerves. And when you touch them and there's pain, they are the first to let you know. So how long can they keep saying, wait it out, it's a bad day, it's not a big deal?
Yeah, it's one of those things, Audie, where I think Republicans will have some patience in the short term. They recognize that there will be some pain probably when it comes to the stock market. But if Trump is able to couple these tariffs with deregulation, which he was successful at doing in his first term, and tax cuts, which is currently up for debate on Capitol Hill with the budget reconciliation bill, the American people could see positive benefits from this in the end. But as we all know, tariffs are a tax, and so you have to make sure that it's part of the full package. You can't just do it single-handedly.
Rob, you saying we all know. We don't all know. What I hear a lot of times as a talking point is that they're not a tax, that they're going to fix things, that they're this or that. For you and your team reporting, you guys aren't pretending they're not taxes.
Right. Well, I think we have to acknowledge that the American people will be paying higher prices on some goods. Now, whether or not Trump uses this as a negotiating tactic, as Jackie mentioned, could be another point. The tariffs haven't actually gone into effect yet, and so there could be countries that decide to lower their tariffs. And ultimately, I think what the president had promised was reciprocity. What we saw delivered on Liberation Day was something slightly different. He was trying to correct the trade imbalance. And I think that
Kramer pointing out the math wasn't mathin'. There's a lot of questions about the pathogen.
And I think you could forgive Republicans, too, for thinking this might be a negotiating tactic, because we've seen it in the past where Trump has said we're doing this and then has pulled back.
Yeah, Jim?
Look, I think Rob's on to something. There's a lot of questions about what's going to happen. Here's what I think is going to happen. I have over a dozen presidents and prime ministers around the world as my clients, and all of them have a decision to make this week. Do you just be quiet? Do you reciprocate and put your own tariffs on? Do you get us into a trade war? What I do know is that people are going to start feeling this immediately. I was talking to the head of one very large American grocery store who said this weekend they will start having to raise prices as they bring in goods from Mexico on Saturday and Canada on Sunday. People are going to start feeling.
Do they have to raise prices? I mean, we always say they pass it on to the consumer. There's no law that says you have to pass it on to the consumer.
It is a tax on the consumer. We know this. I went back and read Ronald Reagan's last speech as president in 1988, where he warned the country about tariffs. And he said, look, we've been through this in the 1930s. We know what this does, and what it does is kneecap the American economy, and that's what you're about to start to see.
Well, one thing we're hearing, the Nonpartisan Tax Foundation saying that the average American household will pay $2,100 more per year for goods. One of the things that I'm thinking about as we're looking ahead is at what point do voters start to really speak out? And I'm referring to this because there is going to be this mass protest. Democrats are organizing it this weekend. But what are you going to be listening for, Rob, in terms of actual voter pushback?
Oh, sure. Well, I think you'll start to see it reflected in polling. I mean, one of the polling numbers that we saw during Biden's presidency, when the cost of living was a huge issue, was whether or not people felt confident in their personal finances. And so I think that's an important metric to look at. But I think also these rallies that you're seeing on the streets, I mean, up until now, there have been a variety of different issues that I think have been animating Democrats probably. This could be one that takes center stage.
That you actually coalesce around. One thing I've noticed, to your point, Jackie, is Republicans not, like, a little bit of a queasy description about what they are seeing in this moment. Here's some voices.
Tariffs are a tax on consumers, and I'm not a fan of jacking up taxes on American consumers.
Sometimes in business, you have to have short-term pain to have long-term gain.
It's very damaging. Steel and aluminum is also a significant component of what we manufacture, including ag equipment in Kansas, and so the prices go up.
There's always short-term blowback, but we're looking at the long haul here.
Anyone who says there may be a little bit of pain before we get things right need to talk about farmers who are one crop away from bankruptcy. They don't have time.
Jackie, I heard you nodding with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you saw that with Chuck Grassley introducing a bill with Maria Quinn from Washington, talking about trying to limit the power of presidents to implement tariffs down the line. Chuck Grassley, obviously from Iowa.
It would say that they would basically expire after 60 days if they were not approved by Congress. Is that the bill we're talking about?
Yes, exactly. And so, so it is manifesting itself, and particularly those Republicans from farm states, because they remember in the first Trump administration when tariffs hurt farmers and made them struggle.
I want you guys to stay with us because we're going to talk more about this and other things today.